Hello, I'm Helen Knight,
And I'm Julie Wood.
and we are two medicine women here in Taos, New Mexico, and we are all about the divine feminine rising through womb awakening. And we have an upcoming women's retreat here in Taos to help you get unstuck, get out of your own way, and become who you are aching to be.
So, where do you feel stuck in your life? So many of us feel stuck, either in our relationship patterns, in our work, in our ways of being. And, that can happen because we overthink everything. It's like that analysis paralysis. Or maybe you're feeling just terrified to take risks. And so, what can happen is often you might feel trapped. It's like you feel trapped in the system that we're in, or in the corporate hamster wheel, or in your family dynamics or relationship patterns, and you just want to have something different, but you might feel paralyzed, like your body just can't take that next step. And a lot of times this stuckness happens because we're so busy being who we think we're supposed to be that we're totally disconnected from who we are, right? Like that's been my personal journey of learning to trust myself. And when we don't trust ourselves, we end up feeling stuck.
And disconnected from ourselves. I hear it over and over again, that riddled with self-doubt, yet you want that inner freedom. Another one, wanting permission. But who do you want the permission from? We want to encourage you to get the permission from yourself. So some of that stuckness can show up with you being terrified in exposing yourself. Fear of rejection. What are people going to think of me? Terrified of being powerful and being seen and being heard. Fear of the death of who you thought you were. Stuckness can show up also with your emotions. Emotions are completely tied to the womb. And I've been a healer for over 15 years, and the number of women that are completely numbing their emotions. Any of the negative emotions, not allowed. Yet, the emotions are like a lighthouse that guide you. Go right, go left, go forward. And so we really want you to be in touch with those emotions.
So why do so many of us as women feel stuck? A lot of it is because we live in a patriarchy. Mm-hmm. So the patriarchy, it glorifies the masculine, right? So it's not only men and women, but it's true that we are told as women that we are the lesser gender. The other thing that happens in the patriarchy is everybody, men and women, are taught to express all of our masculine genius, right? Like our planning, our doing, our goal setting, all of that stuff, instead of the feminine, your creativity, your intuition, your feeling, all those emotions. And because of that, a lot of us feel really stuck. And the other piece is religion or spirituality. I don't know, when you think of God, the word God, you probably think of a man with a white beard sitting on a throne, or like pointing to Adam in the Michelangelo picture. And, the feminine divine has been totally suppressed. But of course, like God is mother, father God. Like God is masculine and feminine. It has to be that way. But because of this like total disconnection from the feminine divine, it creates a sense of stuckness in women. And it creates also all of this programming, which keeps us stuck. So it's that good girl programming, the people pleasing, the I'm going to be nice and pretty and perfect and not express anything that could upset anybody else. So when we're in that mode, we feel stuck. There's also that independent woman programming that's more recent, but it's like that programming that says I'm going to do it all by myself without any support from anybody else. And so that leads to burnout. It leads to exhaustion. So no wonder we're stuck, because we don't have the energy to do anything.
Yeah. And resentment.
Yeah.
That's a big one too. So we are bringing about a new way to think about being stuck. So when you're stuck, you're actually at like a pause point between the loyalties, that old programming that Julie's just mentioned, identifications that pull you backwards versus the aspirations that pull you forward. So being stuck at that threshold is being between the past and what's next, between the obligations and the forward thinking of the aspirations, between what was and what is aching to be.
And another way of thinking a little differently about stuckness is it is part of a movement. So it's a movement from the past into what's next. So it's not apart from movement, it is a part of movement. And the reason that we're stuck so much of the time is because we're afraid. And you might have fear that when you step over the threshold, you won't survive. You know, you'll ask yourself all these questions like, when will I feel qualified? When will I feel good enough? You know, who am I to do what my soul is aching to do? But the truth is, when you are bracing for the future, you can't embrace the future.
So good.
And another mindset shift when you're thinking about stuckness is to think of the gift in it, right? Because life is happening for us, not to us. So there's always a gift in the stuckness. You can think of it as like, it's a pause. It's just a pause to help you prepare for what's next. And it's an opportunity for you to open up for what wants to unfold. And the thing with stuckness is it can eventually become like a lifestyle, you know, like it's just playing safe, right? But like, what are you playing safe from? You know, like we think we have control, but we don't. So really, like you're just stepping into the next thing you have no control over.
And we like to think of it of you're crossing the threshold as a metaphor. So thresh, the word thresh actually means to remove dry husks from fertile seeds that contain dormant potential, just like you. So we are inviting you to come join us on this retreat in Taos to remove those dry, wrinkled husks and access that dormant potential that lies within you. And a big part of that is the plant medicine ceremony that will be as part of our retreat. Plant medicines are divine teachers, and they get into the subconscious mind, which is 95% of our consciousness. 95%, that's a lot. So it dives in there, helps us release the fear, transmute it, and access the love. Say yes to what you're aching to become. And a big part of that, this is why we're working with women and the Divine Feminine Rising, is the womb healing and the womb awakening. Our womb is our portal, and no one is telling us about this. But before it can be a portal, we have to de-armor it because it's full of, all this patriarchal programming that we've gotten. And I want to make clear, this is not male bashing. The patriarch is masculine. It's masculine, but this is not referring just to men. We have our own feminine and masculine within. So it's working with the de-armoring of the womb that we have received through the societal programming around our body shame. We have a lot of women that have sexual trauma. There's the oppression of women. There is anger and grief are huge for women. We have a tendency to develop hardness, again, because of the society that we live in. Resentment, shame, guilt. We got to clear out the past lovers, unconscious sex. This is another big one. Anger towards men in our society. Woo, biggie. We don't walk around consciously thinking, oh, I hate men. No, but it's in our DNA from this lifetime, other lifetimes. The grief, a big piece of grief, there can be grief on many levels, but there can be grief around loss of pregnancy, not having children. There's the transmuting of judgment of self and others. Another one, big distrust of women. There's trauma birth. There's more and more and more. So we got to work on healing all of that and de-armoring the womb so that we can access the amazing gifts that are within that portal.
Yeah, and we love thinking of the womb as a portal. It's like a threshold, right? So when we work with a de-armoring and taking down, it's kind of like the doorway is locked, you know? Mm-hmm. So by doing the womb healing work, we get to access all the treasures in your womb. So in the realm of the feminine, your womb or your yoni, which is a Sanskrit word for vagina, which is a really holy word.
Yeah.
And that's perfect because the yoni and the womb are the gateway between heaven and earth. So if you look at a picture or an illustration of your womb space, it's like you have your womb and your fallopian tubes and your ovaries. And it looks just like a chalice, right? And a chalice is something holy. And your womb is holy. Your womb is your connection to the universal energy of creation, right? Like as women, we are so privileged because we can birth life through our wombs. And that, of course, can be human children, but it can be anything. It can be, you know, your soul's mission, your business, your recipes, your garden. Like there's so much, your artwork, your writing. So as we de-armor the womb, we connect much more deeply to our creativity and all the other gifts that are in our womb space. So that's like your intuition, your feelings and emotions, your receptivity, your softness, your inner authority, like versus that thing of looking outside of yourself and asking everybody else for the answers. The more you heal your womb and connect to your womb, the more you trust your own knowing. And the more you have what we're calling emotional authority, right? Like you're trusting your emotions, you're expressing your emotions, and you're expressing your truth. Like there's a deep connection between the womb and the throat. So this is why.
And receiving.
Oh yeah, receiving's huge too.
Right? This is, we as women, we receive. And I don't know too many women who are like, oh, yeah, I'm an awesome receiver.
Yeah, like how good are you when someone gives you a compliment to just say like, yes, that is true.
Yeah, exactly.
No, like yeah. So receiving is a big part of the womb healing. One other piece is ancestral healing. So especially as women, we hold a lot of intergenerational trauma, patterns, belief systems in our womb space. And that's exponential in the maternal line because actually when your mother was in the womb of her mother, her eggs were already forming in her ovaries. So the egg that became you was inside your grandmother. So just think energetically how strong that bond is. And it's strong with the paternal line as well because all of this energy is passed down through your DNA, it's passed down through your blood, it's passed down through your energy body. So, you know, we don't think about the ancestors very much in this culture. Like we bury people and they're dead and gone. But the truth is your ancestors are an active force in your life. And the reason that these traumas and wounds are passed forward is so they can be healed. Yeah. And then the bus stops with you. You know, it doesn't get passed on to your children, or if you don't have children, it's not getting passed on to future generations. So the ancestral healing is really important. And the beauty of it is then once you do the ancestral healing, you're able to better connect to the gifts of your ancestors. And they do have gifts for you, you know, and connecting to your empowered ancient female ancestors. Like there were women in your lineage who loved being women, who were alive when the divine feminine was worshipped and respected, when women were worshipped and respected, you know, in partnership with men. So it's really beautiful to do some of this ancestor work as well.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing all of this in a really safe space of sisterhood, of the womb space. We are not meant to be doing all of this alone. I always use the word, a metaphor with ceremonies, because we're going to be doing a lot of, not only the plant medicine ceremony, but other ceremonies, that we're all helping each other indirectly. Like if you have to move a picnic table, picnic tables are heavy. But if you do it by yourself, hard, right? Probably impossible. But if you got 3 friends to grab a corner, you can move that picnic table really easily. So I use the picnic table as like your intentions. And so when we're all coming together in a retreat setting, in ceremony, we're all indirectly and directly helping each other with our intentions, and in this case, moving through that threshold to really birth what you're desiring. And we all rise higher when we lift each other up.
Yes. Yeah. And, the other piece is like ceremony doesn't really exist very much in our culture, right? There's no rites of passage. I mean, I don't know what your experience was like when you got your period, but, basically my mom handed me a tampon and a book. And I was like, don't tell dad. And that was it. But ceremony is the passageway. Like ceremony is what takes you from the past into the future. So that is the intention we're holding for this retreat, is that the entire retreat is a ceremony to support you in walking through the threshold. So, we invite you to join us on retreat in Taos, to put yourself first and to put who you are ready to become first. And, as women, we're not that good at putting ourselves first, right? Like we're generally very out of balance.
We're taught not to put ourselves, we're selfish if we do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So we focus on taking care of everybody else. But when your cup is full, then it can overflow to everything you want to create in your life and to everybody else in your life. So if you'd like to join us, you can register at the link below. If you still have questions, if you're new to plant medicine, or if you'd just like to meet one of us, book a discovery call. We'd love to get to know you and share more and answer your questions.
Yeah. And we really look forward to supporting you to get unstuck, cross that threshold, and birth what's next for you.